Hey coin collectors, and welcome to DC Coin World International Coin Channel. Today it's the 1970 Washington quarter from the United States of America. We have two of them here. We have the Denver Mint quarter and the Philadelphia Mint quarter. Of course, the Philadelphia Mint doesn't put a mint mark on their quarters. Denver Mint has a D. There was one other quarter made in 1970, and that was the quarter at the San Francisco Mint, which has an S here. You may have heard the stories about the San Francisco Mint quarter that was struck on top of a 1941 Canadian quarter and is supposedly worth $35,000. And here's San Francisco Mint quarter right here, and this is the one that's going to be a little bit controversial when you get it in a certain form. You see, this one's from the San Francisco Mint, so this is a proof quarter, but this happens sometimes with the proof quarters, is you get a little bit of blemishes or something else on them that didn't come out quite right. So this isn't the greatest San Francisco Mint quarter ever, but there is the S there. That doesn't add any value to this coin. It probably takes it away. We'll talk about that in a minute, but let's get to the real quarters that we have here. And this is a Philadelphia quarter right here. They made 136 million of these at the Philadelphia Mint, and they found three so far in a Mint State 67 Plus worth $2,750. We tip it up, we see that it's a copper nickel clad copper. The outside of these coins, the cladding, is 75% copper, 25% nickel. The inside of these coins is 100% copper. So it's like a copper sandwich. We tip it over, we see the back of this coin, and we notice that there's not very fine detail here. We can't really see the leg feathers. We can't see the feathers between the legs. We can't see the line in the arrow very good here. This is par for the course for 1970 for Philadelphia. They didn't have great dies, and they didn't stamp very fine coins. United States of America at the top, E pluribus unum here, $quarter here at the bottom. Now, one of the things that, when I say they didn't have great dies, it doesn't really matter. You're just going to take the quarter and spend it. But it matters to collectors because collectors want the best possible definition they can from the coins and all the special details on the coins. This one just doesn't have it. They have, however, found three Mint State 67 Pluses at Philly, and those are worth about $2,750. As far as the Denver Mint, we see that the Denver Mint coin here is much more shiny. These are both from uncirculated mint sets from the U.S. Mint. The uncirculated mint sets from 1970 were in a PDS form. They had some of the Philadelphia coins, all the Denver coins, and some of the San Francisco coins. This one is incredibly shiny. It's not a cameo. You'll never see a cameo from Denver Mint from 1970. This one says, "Liberty at the top, and God we trust under Washington's chin." D back here for the Denver Mint. And then way down in here, we see a J and an F. And that's for John Flanagan, the engraver of these coins. Let's see what the back of this one looks like. And again, this is a really, really fine version of the coin, and we can't see any feathers down through here at all. A little bit of detail in the eagle's head, but we can't really see the beak line very well, and a little cowlick, not so great either. NGC has certified that there's a quarter from 1970, and if you flip it over on the back, underneath it is the pattern for the 1941 Canadian quarter, and you can actually read the 1941 upside down over the dollar here. There's a lot of confusion about how that possibly could have happened, and the most likely way that you could get a 1970 quarter on top of a 1941 Canadian quarter is somebody stuck it in the minting process somewhere. There's no reason for a 1941 Canadian quarter or die or blank to be in the U.S. Mint for any reason whatsoever. I should say, however, that in 1968, Philadelphia Mint produced 85,170,000 Canadian dimes because Canada at the Royal Canadian Mint didn't have the production capacity to make dimes that year. And this is what led in Canada to open a second mint in Winnipeg in the 1970s. So we did produce a Canadian dime in the United States at the Philadelphia Mint, but we never produced any Canadian quarters that I'm aware of or anybody else seems to be aware of. The chances of it not being a put-up job where somebody stuck a Canadian quarter from 1945 in there are very low. Another thing I'll say about the Canadian quarters is that the Canadian quarter in 1941 was 80% silver, weighed 5.83 grams. The U.S. quarter in 1970 was a clad coin, copper and nickel coin, and it weighed 5.67 grams. When we look at the 1970 quarter that's stamped onto a 1941 Canadian quarter, it weighs 5.63 grams. So it weighs less than a US quarter weighed that year. It weighs way less than a Canadian silver quarter weighed. And so it's just a hard to believe idea altogether that somehow a US quarter was stamped on a 1941 Canadian quarter. Remember in 1970, they also produced the Kennedy half dollars. This was the last year of the 40% silver Kennedy half dollars. And here's one of them right here from the Denver Mint. You tip it up on its side and you notice that it looks like it's silver. It's only 40% silver, unlike the clad coins that came from 1971 on. They still do produce the half dollar, but they don't produce it in silver. In 1964, it was 90% silver. From 1965 to 1970, 40% silver. And after that, no silver in the U.S. half dollar, unless you get one of the modern silver proof set half dollars, which are available. Well, that's all we have from DC Coin World for today. We'd love to have you subscribe to our channel and leave any comments you have in the comments section.